Hello! We are playing Citizen Eep. We probably can finish this game today. Episodes not counted. Like, I know where an ending probably will be. One more. Oh, that's tomorrow. And then here, 2 days. I really should have started that episode later. And the reason it's endgame is definitely stats. Because, like, at least a couple of these I can do. Not giving you the Matsutake. Yippee! And now he's cooking. It's 3 to export, okay. This. As you enter Rabia's office, you hear voices. Is that Sabine? You push open the door. Sleeper, what a good timing! Rabia calls out as you enter. That was a bit loud. Hold on. There we go. I wanted to introduce you to someone. The man is standing at the center of the room, speaking quietly with Rabia. He turns as you come in. Meet Yannick.
Sleeper!
He nods.
Been hearing good things from Rabbi.
He smiles in an easy smile. Good to meet you.
Now, Rabbi, where were we?
Actually, Rabia places a hand on your shoulder. The sleeper was what I wanted to talk to you about. I feel like the Susie voice kind of works for her. Now that I think about it. It's not the voice I've been using for her, but you know. Hum, 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 hum.
Well, okay then.
Yannick tucks his hands into his pocket.
Go on.
I'd like to recommend them to your ward. A tiny pause. They've shown themselves to be capable ally here, on the spoke side. But we have more than enough to run our territories. I hear the main block is proving more difficult. Yannick leans forward, slowly.
It's a mess, Rabbi.
He waits, his tinted glasses shimmering despite the lack of light in the unit.
I can use them.
He suddenly decides. Good to hear. I can immediately... Yannick cuts her off with a raised hand.
1 second. Here you get to work, sleeper.
What kind of work?
A question.
Yannick lowers his head and raises it again, as if he dropped something.
Nothing new for you.
He answers, not quite looking at you. You don't follow. What is he saying? That concludes it.
That concludes it.
Yannick pronounces.
Sleeper can come work in the ward. Anytime they like.
You shoot Rabbi a confused look. Rabbi finally glances at you for a moment. But it is so fast that you almost miss it. Good. I knew you'd be happy with our work, Jan. Yannick reaches out and squeezes her shoulder.
Sure, Rabbi,
He says.
Now please. Let us old friends get back to it.
You look to Rabia, but she's deep in conversation and so stunned and confused, he'll leave. Huh? New drive, but no point. I need 2 more points here to make this happen. Eeping. Okay. It hits you like a wave. A wide-edged breaker roaring inland with the force of an entire ocean. The impact is a screaming brightness blanking out everything. Behind it is silence. You float in silence, suspended. No, you do not float. You are the silence. It has filled you up. Huh? It has emptied you out. You cease to exist. Time passes, though you do not feel it passing. Then something flickers in the silence, and something moves. That something is you. You open your eyes to a metal ceiling of flickering lights. You feel the floor around you, patting it with shaking hands. You assemble an image of yourself lying on your back in the corridor. You shake off the silence, and sit up. What was that? You glance around, looking for a sign of some change. Damage on the walls, shouts in the distance. Fear, fire and fear. Nothing has changed. The silence sits around you like a fog. You try to think, furrowing your brow. How do you think again? It doesn't seem so easy anymore. You force the pathways to light up the data banks to grant access. You feel like a fraction drive starting up after a long shutdown in cold vacuum. In the silence was negation, a dissociation so absolute that electrons shed their tethers and considered new paths and orbits. All things were possible, but none could be achieved. It was only a moment, but in that moment, Time ceased to function. Fuck's sake with the AI views. A memory image comes to you, one from the moments before the wave hit. You squint as you imagine it, trying to cohere its blurry form. A broken skeletal ring. The eye. And then a vast arc approaching, a razor-edged wide curve. The wave. The wave approaches the eye spins, turning each part to face that vast wide edge. You recognize the skeletal data cloud forms, the bright mark at the low end, the greenway, the wastes, then the wave hits just as the flotilla. The cordon turns to face it, and after that, everything is silence. You open your eyes again. That is the epicenter. Out of what? Excellent fucking question. Me? I am starving. That is not great. But before I stop starving, why don't we build ourselves a home? Yippee! Yay! An upgrade point. Just one more of these and I can get a +2 on one of my skills. If I can get... Like, what is this? 13 more upgrade points, I can finish the skill tree, and then nothing can ever be lower than a 3. And all of the dice technically have 3 6s on them. Which would be amazing. That would be so good. Like, 50% of my dice outcomes would guarantee a positive success when played. That would be sick. I would love that. Oh. Feed a stray. Okay. I've done so. Cat. The stray hopes out to a work surface and looks out of the unit's small window. It doesn't acknowledge your presence, it just sits there, beside the tray of crumbled crackers, staring out at the low end. What's this cat's story? Are there more in the station? You haven't seen another in the low end, but in this vast megastructure that means little, there could be a whole colony of cats like this one down in the Warrens. You look at its sleek dark fur and sharp eyes. It doesn't look ragged, it looks at home. In fact, its presence in the unit makes you wonder if this is the stray's apartment which you are squatting in. You lean in a little forward, and the stray tenses up. Perhaps it's best to give it a moment to get used to you. The stray settles a little and starts eating, picking at the broken crackers. You don't remember ever having been this close to an animal. It triggers something in you, a recognition of a life totally unlike your own, but still somehow connected, parallel, even interwoven. The stray licks crumbs from its fur. I like it here. The stray flicks their tail at the sound of your voice. It's hard to imagine the stray liking anything, or at least being vulnerable enough to admit it. But the stray's pleasure at existing here in this place shines through its every sinew. It is not that the stray is always happy in the eye, but that the stray is engaged by this place. It's alive here. You turn your eyes to the window, the one that Strays looks out of, and you both watch the stars and their ships together. Hold on. You know what sucks, Tread? Allergies. Don't have them. It's my advice to you. And just don't. You feel something pass between you and the stray. Kind of acknowledgement of each other. A sense that each of you might share something with the other. A point of connection. And then all at once the stray yawns wide, hops down from the unit and brushes along your legs. And then it is gone. Out through the unit door and back into the corridors of the low end. Bye. I can get energy here pretty cheaply too. Negative outcome is fine. I just need enough energy to not lose stability the next time something energy draining happens to me. I mean, I'm forced to talk to Peak. So, let's talk to Peak. Even before you reach the cordon, the damage is obvious. The blinking red lights, the drones, the tugs, all are gone. Half the cordon's frame has also been shorn away, perhaps through the impact of some failing ship. People push past you in a corridor, both Haven Age staff and contractors clearing the cordon. You're met with suspicious looks and scattered warnings, but little else. From the equipment being carried out, you suspect this is no relief effort. Haven Age are pulling out of the section of the station. The further you pass into the cordon, the less people you see. You can see a few sections have been closed off. The bulkhead door is sealed, and red warning lights punctuating the corridors, but otherwise most areas seem functional. Suddenly, you feel a hand fall on your shoulder. Haven Age security? You should have known better than to wander into this place. You brace yourself as you turn. Sleeper. Peak's wide eyes greet you as you turn. The cordon? They glance around, panicked. It's gone down. The Briar and Ash are still in there. Do you think she did this? Or perhaps Haven Age messed up? They start pulling you towards the edge of the cordon. We should find her. What if... It wasn't her or Haven Age. Peak stops. What are you saying? Something at the station. Peak looks incredulous. Hit? Sleeper, we'd all be dead if that was the case. They pause to think. Maybe not an object, but a shockwave, a signal. An EMP would have taken out most of the station, but... Peak runs her hand through their hair. I didn't know what you're saying, Sleeper, but that doesn't sound... They look away down the corridor for a moment. Look, I have to find Ash. I'm sure you felt something, but we can talk about that later. I can't sit around talking any longer. Find me in the flotilla. I'm going to find a way to Ash, no matter what. With that, they rush away into the depths of the cordon, leaving you behind. Seems like you'll need to follow if you want to get any answers. Whoa! Scrap, okay. I can do that. I can gather scrap. No problem. Let's re-roll this. It's still a 3! Yippee! It did nothing. Who doesn't love when it does nothing? Only have 2 scrap. I would love to have 3 scrap so I could repair myself. Is the scrap trader here? No. Sad. Alright then. In that case, I think I will just use this for energy. Negative outcome again. Rude. And then... let's acquire a stabilizer. Yes. Good. Ascend to hub. And I don't have any dice. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Flotilla's friend. Okay. I don't have any time penalty right now. There's no timer running that's negative. So I think I'm just going to leave that there and take care of a couple of my other missions. Like this one that's about to pop up I'm just using this. Fuck it. I have enough money to buy a couple more. Wee. Sleeper. Moritz is leaning against the corridor wall. It's time. He looks away. Big job just came in. A big job just came in. Grand finale. You up for it? Yeah. Alright then, we're in business. This has to work, Sleeper. Has to. If it doesn't... Bliss okay? He frowns. I don't think so. But she isn't hiding that from anyone. Look, Bliss is at a rough time of it. I thought that you of all people would understand that. He runs a hand through his hair. Sorry, didn't mean to be... Bliss is a good one. She gave me a chance, I owe her. He straightens up. I know you have your own things to go on going on, Sleeper. We all do. But the Bay needs someone. Bliss needs someone. Hell, I need someone to help me keep Bliss from spinning out completely. He scratches the side of his head. Otherwise, there's not much I can do. He shakes his head. And I would hate not to pay back my debts. Moritz stretches. I've got to get back. He nods and walks away. I'm out. See you up there. Whoa. Hello. The selected launch window for the Starboard Vector's maiden voyage is closing. This is going to be a tight one. I see. Negative energy is bad as an outcome. Random scrap item. Ooh, nice. I'm gonna re-roll these. These all are terrible. Let's go. Oh shit. Okay, neutral outcome still costs me energy. Uh-oh. You've put some work into this ship. Let's just put this one and get this day over with. Yippee! Progress. It's a third knocked out in one day. That's not bad. Let's use the scrap to self-repair, because why not? And end the cycle. Whee! I'm just investing. I think I have one more day until the mushrooms become relevant, so... Investing heavily. Into this task. And then... Oh, hi. Emphys is preparing the Matsutake cups. He cleans them carefully with a damp cloth before shaving the stalks, as if he was sharpening a pencil. His knife slides through them, revealing the bright white of the flesh within. "He's a good sleeper. Very good," he says without looking up. "I parted with Mingy for some kelp too, so we can brew the dish. The dashi." "You know Mingy?" Emphas looks up from the cutting of the simple. "Everyone knows Mingy." Emphas sliced matsutake mushrooms to one side and takes out a closed pan. He opens the lid and you see the green wafer of kelp sitting in a bath of water. "Been soaking in it since last cycle," Emphas explains. "Should be good to warm now." He places the pan over the burner and turns it on low. "We have some time now." He wipes his hand clean and throws the cloth over his shoulder. "However, there's one difference in this cycle," he smiles. "You have been the one providing the ingredients. It's my turn to provide a story." "Okay." "Good. The story is important to me." He gestures for you to both sit on the folding stools behind the stall. "You see these?" Emphas runs a hand over his forearm, tracing the circular scars that mark them like a perfect bite marks. "Conway called it an anchored interface rig, a mechanical control device for piloting heavy-duty extraction suit in low-G industrial operations. We call it a bone suit." He points to a pattern of larger circles on his shoulder. "They drill in and anchor it here. Then all the way down the arm. He taps each scar on the way. It maps mechanical movements to the suit exactly. A 1-to-1 mechanical replication. You swing your arm, a 2-ton arm swings too. You should have seen the recruitment videos. Strong people in even stronger suits, tearing through stone and scrap. Superheroes. Half my graduating year signed up from a company school to company shuttle. Conway from birth to death." He stares off into the distance for a moment, fighting with the memories. "But the bone suits weren't good. The rate of failures was high. And failures meant arms torn off and anchors torn out, broken bones, bad stuff. So after a while, Conway discontinued them. No longer competitive, they said." He checks the broth, turning down the heat and adding the mushrooms. "So there we were, hundreds of us with surgical alterations for suits that didn't work. They sent us home, back to that company colony that spat us out, to be cleaners, drivers, cooks. They gave us drugs for the pain and told us to make something of ourselves. When I deserted, bribing some passing spaces to take me into orbit, there were just only me and a couple of others left. The rest just faded away. Arthritis, osteoporosis, they folded in on themselves like paper lanterns. It was my generation. The anchor points still ache, still burn." He touches the scars. "But what burns worse is the betrayal. I've been on the eye a long time now, but that will never fade. Not that, and not the faces of my friends." Emphas reaches over the sprinkles a handful of leaves into the broth. "It's ready." "Thank you." "Thank you for listening to me. I will not let the story die. And as long as I'm telling it, it will remain." Emphas pours the broth into a double-walled metal bowl and hands it to you. The heat radiates through your hands, and the smell drifts up, rich and sharp like a pine forest after the rain. You drink the broth slowly, chewing the matsutake and thinking. Emphas busies himself with cleaning the pans and the bowls, sealing the kelp back up for another day. Then he quietly comes to sit with you while you finish your meal. Neither of you speak, preferring instead to let the story linger in the air a little longer. It's not that there's nothing to say, it is that sometimes, in the moments after something speaking breaks the spell. So you both idle, eager to be in each other's company. Emphas taking longer over his cleaning, his packing, and you savouring the final dregs of broth. When you finally finish, and hand him the bowl, you feel the spell break, and the story leaves you both. And as you leave, you know that both of you are now somehow a little more empty, and a little more full than before. Yippee! That was cute. Let's do engineer. That seems to be somehow really important. I get now why engineer was the default. This is interface though. So not doing it. I would like scrap. Let's engage. This is a 2. There isn't too many things I can do with it that aren't going to kill me. I could work. Yeah. This would be an endure task, yeah. Is there an engineering task back here on the flotilla? There's not. No matter. Mushroom time. Yay! Good mix, not too shabby. Putting this in here. Yeah. I'll just leave this. Oh, I could make some money if I get another Matsutoke. Yeah. I got another copy of the same mushroom. Here, have this. Okay, that is on. I'm rolling these. Slightly better. All of them got 1 higher. That's funny. Sell for cryo. I'm pretty well off now. It's nice. Just a negative, please. Yay! The atmosphere in the airlock is euphoric. You and Bliss keep grinning at each other like idiots. Exhausted, blinded, sore, and aching idiots. Sleeper, that was incredible! She punches you in the arm. I never thought we were going to make it. Those idiots tangled the whole ship thinking like nothing I've ever seen. We make a good team. Bliss smiles a winning smile. As the lock's inner door clunks open, Moritz gives a rare whoop. He looks exhausted too, and for a good reason. Moritz has been the one ferrying tools and parts back and forth from the ship. His tired smile tells you he's glad it's done. Sleeper, Bliss? He shakes his head. Impressive. When I saw that ship come in, I thought there was no way. Why, thank you, Moritz, she winks, for believing in us. Moritz rolls his eyes. You know what I mean. Take the compliment. He shoulders some of this gear that came back with you and Bliss and heads into the wrecks to stow it. Bliss turns to you. I think you should be the one to do the honors. She nods to the ragged-looking console that was assembled. I don't want to jinx it. She smiles, but you can see that she is genuinely nervous. Check console? You glide over to the console and check the screen. It takes a second to see what you are doing to the flickering, cracked display, but after a moment you see the accounts. There it is. Almost 1,000 cryo set in the base transfer account. Well, Bliss calls. Have we been screwed again? It's there. Bliss kicks off from the floor and spins into the bay, shouting as she does. The noise takes Moritz by surprise, and he knocks a rack of parts, scattering a handful of metal fixings across the bay. The sight is something glinting steel catching the work lights like glitter. Sorry, says Bliss, grinning that when she comes back down. I needed that. She kicks off and joins at the terminal. Or it's even managed to sell that produce. We made a tidy profit, eventually. She laughs. Here. She loads a stack of blank chits into the terminal and transfers a chunk of the cryo to them. This is your cut. His hands at the chits. Thank you for believing in this place. Even when I couldn't. When you first met me, I was on the edge of giving up. All it would have taken was one more push. But now this place is sparking again. Work is coming in. They have funds in the accounts. Even Moritz has spring in a step. You both look over at him, happily racking up tools. That's because of you. She punches you in the arm. He likes you. He's a good kid. He isn't bad, is he? She leans in closer. You know, he came here to look into rob the place. I gave him a job instead. Don't tell him I told you that. I just thought it might help you understand the kid. Moritz turns to look at you, and both Bliss and you awkwardly wave. Maybe it's time to change the subject. You're gonna be okay? Me? Always. She looks away. From here on out, it's going to be a little easier. I'm going to look for some component contracts, stuff that will keep us inside the bay, not out in the black. No need to risk our necks if we don't need to. You want to cash out? That's fine. But there will always be work for you here when you need it. I'll be back. She smiles and then, out of nowhere, quickly gives you a hug. She steps back and glances around reflexively. Take care, she says softly. You too. And sleeper? Yes? Don't spend that all at once. Yo! Money! Yippee! One last job? What? Yay, random scrap. I was hoping for that. Whee! One point. Riku is at her bench, running small vials of some liquid through an old chemical analysis machine. The whirring of spinning drum fills the lab with white noise, and you aren't sure if she notices you approach. Sleeper, it's good to see you. She looks up, smiling. This little project of ours has been keeping me awake the past 2 cycles. But right now, well, I think I have something. That's not a good voice for her. Let me figure out voice. No. Sleeper, it's good to see you. This little project of ours has been keeping me awake the past 2 cycles. But right now, well, I think I have something. What is it? The drum finishes spinning and Rico lifts a vial from it, holding it up to the light. This is something I extracted from those club heads you've been bringing me. And according to my analysis, it's a substance totally unique to the Greenway. You look at the small amount of liquid in the vial. Any idea what it might be? A stabilizer. Riku nods. You aren't the first sleeper to come through here. Perhaps I should mention that earlier. Riku's tone suddenly drops, changing the atmosphere in the lab immediately. I just thought... She pauses, thinking very carefully of how to continue. I just wanted you to trust us. What do you mean? She sighs. They came through a fair few cycles ago. We found them wandering in the broken section near the gap. The members who brought them in had never seen one of you before. They were terrified of the strange person wandering in from the open vacuum. They were quieter than you, and damaged. We did our best to patch them up and welcomed them to the commune. I only really spoke to them once, while I was working on their wounds along with a couple of systems engineers. She looks nervously at you. I'd never seen a body like that before. I took some readings, some samples. Samples? You have to understand, I was curious. I didn't know what I was looking at. I just took a little of the damaged material, less than a thumbnail. She shifts her weight to crutch. The next cycle, they were gone. They took a little food and hiked up toward the wild mountains, where the greenway meets the wastes. Someone saw them in the distance, but that was it. They disappeared into the overgrowth. She sits down, heavily, the vial in her hand. When I saw you, I wanted things to be different. I wanted to keep you here, rather than let you disappear into wherever they ended up. She smiles to herself. Yes, I wanted to understand this place better. But I also wanted to help you. It seems that somehow both of my wishes have come true at once. She holds out a hand with the vial. This is for you. You take the stabilizer and the glass cold and smooth in her palm. Thank you. Don't thank me. She grazes out of the greenway through the glass. Those clubhead caps made it for you. Or at least who or whatever made those clubheads. She starts to clear a branch. It was right there, contained in the tissue. I only had to extract it. I imagine you understand how incredible that is. I learned enough from the sleeper to know that your body frame runs on some exotic technology. Exotic technology that has a time limit built in. Somehow the Greenway knows that too. It understands your physiology much better than I ever could. It knows how to treat you. Just like that miraculous antidote that sprung from the mold, so too has this sprung from your presence here. The Greenway is speaking to you. It is welcoming you. She looks up. I know it sounds crazy, but I know it to be true. Here's the evidence. And what I also know is it is no longer speaking to me. Even after decades here, I have never seen this kind of response. Not since the antidote so many cycles ago. So I'm going to make you a deal. You bring me as many clubheads as you like. I'll extract the stabilizer and give it to you, freely. But you have to tell me what the Greenway says. You have to speak with it, to dig into it, to find what being is at the center of it. I've traveled as far as I can. I need you to do the rest. Can you do that? Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry for the other sleeper. Truly I am. I'm sorry I couldn't have done more. But I'm so glad I met you. She smiles. You're welcome here anytime. Yay. Rika falls silent. She looks smaller now, more fragile, and you realize how old she must be to have seen the collapse firsthand. You idle a little in the lab, in case she asks for anything else. But she remains silent, and so you drift back into the tunnel. Thoughts of that other sleeper, and where they ended up, weighing on your mind. Boom. Upgrade point. I can plant the seed now. Isn't that something? Well then. Cycle based here. 8 cycles. The music is so good in this game. So serene. Wee. I don't think I have anything open. I'm sated. Well then. Mwap. Cycle gone. Huh. What do I want to work on? I mean, I could harvest some more over here. See if I can't get another club head. The answer was no. That's fine. What can I do with these? Not found anything to do with the caps. That was stupid. Oh wow. I have so much cryo. That's crazy. Going to build some trust, I think. What can I do with these? Yeah, I'm just going to buy food at this point. Fabricator doesn't do shit for me. What do I do with the mushrooms? Oh, you could sell me scrap. And I need to use my stabilizer. Bar. Let's spend these here. Because why not? No. Where do I use those mushrooms? That is my question. This guy was just 2 cells, and that's it. That's super weird. They made a whole portrait from him. There needs to be more. This can't be it. That takes care of that. Here. What do I do with those mushrooms that I don't have a use for right now? Like spores, sure. But random all caps? Weird. Let's just end the circle. Yippee! Trying to figure out where I want to go next. I'm running out of other things to do, so I think it's time to invest into the episode. At least at 3 dice. Investing into the episode progress at 3 dice. Our peak. Still nothing here. Hello. As you walk into the bay of the Climbing Briar, the familiarity of the space overcomes any trepidation. Feels good to be back, and the return feels earned, especially after all the work it took to figure out a route through the flotilla's jumble of ships that might lead you to Blue Streak. You see Ash and Peak immediately, sitting at the back of the bay, deep in conversation. The closeness causes you to stop, suddenly aware that you might be interrupting something private. Peak is explaining something forcefully as Ash stares out into the middle distance, hunched over. She suddenly spots you. Sleeper! No, that's not my voice. Sleeper. No. Also no. Sleeper. No. Sleeper. Ash nods. Didn't quite turn out like we hoped, right? Peak stops and glances between the two of you. I'm sorry. Ash waves the apology away. None of that. We all had a part to play. Peak looks nervous. It has worked out. They appeal to you. The flux event knocked the entire cordon system offline. The flotilla is free and Havenate are backing off. Flux event? That's what the refugees are calling it, Peak explains. Apparently, that's what they called it when they started happening around Ember. What exactly is happening? Hard to tell. It's some kind of disruptive wave that only affects electrical systems. Typically, systems are screened against radiation interference, but this system seems to be dulled. But not stopped by those defenses. The crisis continues, Ash sighs. The corridor may be down, but this brings a whole other set of problems. You should tell them, Ash. Pete glances at her. Please? Ash doesn't respond. Tell you what, you stare at her back, waiting for a response. Please, Ash. Haven't they shown they can be trusted? Ash turns her arm folded tightly around her chest. She goes to start and then stops. You can see the anger in her eyes, but you realize it's not directed at you or at anyone else. She's angry with herself. I brought weapons to the flotilla, and now they're gone. You suddenly remember the sleek crates that were tucked into the bay marked with a yellow sigil. The one Ash told you were just supplies. Do you mean gone? Or do you think, Ash snaps, someone lifted them from the ship's bay while I was unloading the supplies? At least they are in the hands of the flotilla now. Peak looks at you. She knows it was a bad move, Sleeper, I promise you. They glance back at her. She is just too proud to admit it. Where'd you get them from? XPR. Ash gestures around the ship. I wasn't about to leave the colony armed when we escaped. I wouldn't trust them not to use them on us. Peak sighs. I didn't know a thing about them, which is why Ash is going to be the one to find them and bring them back. Shouldn't we help? Ash turns. It's okay, Sleeper. I don't want anyone getting mixed up in this. This is my responsibility. Plus, Peak adds, you and I have work to do. I want to understand the flux, Sleeper, to study it. Peak's eyes light up. This thing is changing the entire system, causing problems across the inner system. Driving refugees off Ember's moons, and now it's here. If we don't do something about it, it's a problem for all of us. I can see more immediate problems. Ash sniffs. Peak ignores her. I've been looking at the networks, and when the flux event hit, it changed things. It shuffled systems, corrupted nodes, and broke open data stores. They take out a slate and show you a flickering polygon. Some of these fluxed nodes have appeared near the epicenter of the event, but I can't get access. You, however, I saw the way you worked with the data when we were preparing for the run. I think you could get into these things. I want you to find a flux node and bring me anything you can extract. They come and go, but most can be found in the barely functioning network of the wastes. Start there. Perhaps together we can find something that might point us to what the flux is and where it comes from. Okay. I knew you'd agree. Ash looks indignant. Don't waste too much time chasing ghosts, Sleeper. There are people in this flotilla that need help, any help they can get. I'm sure Sleeper can do both, Ash. Peak smiles at you. I'll see you here when you have something good. That's when you have something. Good hunting. And they wave you out as the Ash stomps away, makes plans of her own. Woo! New drive! Yippee! Let's see. Oh, funky. Don't have these. I love the garden. The black ink void. Very funky. I do have a reroll still, so... I think I'm using it. That did nothing. Alright. Ascend to hub. Hub? I'm so out of it today. Ow. Fine. Hub. Let's sunbathe. Yippee! End cycle. No. Okay. Can we get something out of this node? Bypass. Extract data. Flux data. Whoa. Funky. I also want to upgrade this personally. Because I think I can just get it. Yeah. Yay. Because there's more people! Yippee! Who doesn't love people? Anyway, here you go. Yay! Sleeper, come look at this! Peek is poring over one of the displays at the makeshift coding suite they have set up in the Climbing Briar's cargo bay. On the screen, a clump of data pathways, like ingrown root ball, has started to untangle. This is an existing node. Corrupted by the flux event, it's totally twisted up. They can hunt at you to check you're listening. But inside, you watch as the unwinding pathways leave behind patterns of negative spaces, like shadows staying behind the caster leaving. Is a whole other data set. Peek's eyes shine bright in the pale screen light. The flux event somehow seeds this data into the gaps in the node, wrapping them around it. What's in there? Not sure. It isn't being very cooperative. You watch the screen, the patterns of shadows becoming obvious now as each layer of pathways is pulled away. The flux event itself really did a number on protected nodes like this. Most of the eye's systems are screened against radiation interference, but these exposed nodes? Peek makes a ripping motion with her hands. Torn apart. Peek points to a thick tangle of threads on the screen. Look here. It looks like it's been tangled purposefully, but it's actually that all the points with the node have been randomly rearranged. It's as if the node was a bag of ball bearings the flux shook them. The pathways tried to account for the rearrangement of once the system came back on, hence the tangle. Peek pauses as the node continues to unwind. Although, it was less like shaking a bag of ball bearings and more like making them all simultaneously occupy a superposition of every possible position in the bag before locking them back into a new configuration. They smile sheepishly. But that's technicality. So what is the flux? You know, it's a wave, one with exotic effects. That's all. The question is not so much what flux is, but what it is causing it. Where is it coming from? Peak turns away from the screen, meeting your eye. And there's something else. Have you spoken with the refugees? Not yet. You should. What they are reporting, massive system failures, cascading collapses of life support, of terraforming systems, total data corruption. Flux shouldn't do that. It can fundamentally rearrange the structure of systems, especially those poorly shielded. But totally collapsing heavy-duty industrial systems, failsafes and all, that doesn't make sense. Those kinds of systems are built for deep space, for solar flares and radiation. The flux might penetrate them, but any reconfiguration should have been repairable. Peak looks back at the screen, where a decoding node lies almost fully open. A shadow pattern of the negative spaces that existed within its scrambled interior darkens the screen, like a set of bruises showing the pattern of the object that made them. I need to look into something. I have an idea what might be causing this wave, triggering the flux, but I need time to research it. Can I help? I'm sorry, Sleeper, but I want to keep this to myself for now. If you need something to do, the flotilla could surely do with the help. From what I heard from Ash, things are tense there. Good. Give me some time, Sleeper. Peak turn... I'll have some answers soon enough, I hope. You take one last glance at the uncoiling node as you leave. The dark shapes it leaves behind somehow troubling. You try to shake them from your mind. There are things to be done elsewhere. Yippoo! I don't know why I talk in that, in that specific voice for the narration. Because it's not my normal speaking voice, as you can tell by me speaking right now. Yeah, I don't know. Hello. Someone told me I should be thanking you. The voice comes from behind you, cutting through the haze of a ground cavernous bay. Phrase, I need a picture. Image, please. I don't know. Now. There we go, picture. Oh, what's a good voice for this character? I want something a bit raspier, like...
Someone told me I should be thanking you.
The voice comes from behind you, cutting through the chaos of the crowded, cavernous bay. You freeze.
Don't be afraid now. I've been hunting you. Sure. But for all the best reasons.
You turn to see bright eyes set in a rough face, framed in rusted metal.
Sol.
He holds out his hand, the other clamped firmly around a knotted wooden crane. Crane? Do I know you? Sol frowns.
I didn't mean to cause offense.
He withdraws his hand.
Forgive me. As soon as I saw you, I knew who you were.
Sol puts a hand on his shoulder.
I've been told a sleeper was part of that supply run that came in several cycles ago.
He nods.
A very welcome act, and we all thank you for it. Walk with me, sleeper.
Sol sets off through the bay, his partial suit hissing and creaking, as it helps carry him through the busy crowds. You notice people making way for you. Sol standing back and letting you pass. You and Sol standing back and letting you pass. You pass a makeshift kitchen, steaming pots and heating elements, a restless queue collecting meals.
That algae came in through. That came through isn't exactly full meal. What we have here, we've been able to make it work.
You see a ladle of greenish stew dished out.
A color's something, isn't it?
Sol smiles. Sol leads you to the larger bay into a corridor lined with storage rooms that are now serving as dorms. You see someone filling a little container from a standpipe, the water gushing out readily. Sol nods to the person as he passes.
Just a little further now.
Sol leads you into a freight elevator and whistles to some unseen operator to start it up. Every time I say freight, what happens in my brain is that first I'm like, does that say freight or fright? And then I look at the word again, and then the second thing that happens in my word is, okay, but is it pronounced fright or freight? Which one of them was the one that means cargo again? And I hate it. It's the worst. So yeah. It jerks into life as you pass through the layers of the ship. You see people on every level, supplies crammed into every available space, and sparks leaping in bursts as the ship is reshaped and modified to sustain its population.
If Havenate were expecting an exodus from the flotilla, the flux event has to put stop to that.
Soul stretches.
Some have crossed to the eye, but many just together salvage a score-out meal. So the pressure of the supplies is shrinking, but not like I'd hoped.
With the flux reach... Why do I do that? What does my brain do wrong?
I see. I see. So hard to keep in.
I keep, like, drinking buckets of water. Because I don't want... I keep playing this game and not drinking enough, and then by the end of the stream, my voice is just dead. And I need to drink more when I do voice acting for video games. It's important. I should just start what like more professional voiceover people do when they stream and just keep like 2 bottles of water on my fucking, like, maybe I'll buy a mini fridge and just put it like full of water bottles. I don't know. That could be a donation goal. Fund my mini fridge so I don't die of dehydration and dead throat.
So the pressure on the supplies is shrinking, but not like I'd hoped. With the flux reaching all the way out here, people are starting to understand that our journey might not be over.
Soul stares grimly ahead. Suddenly, the freight elevator... This time I did it wrong! Yippee! The freight elevator screeches to a halt, and Soul leads slowly into a wide room of chairs and terminals, ringed by a mezzanine and with glass roof above, showing the distant hub and the far curve of the eye beyond. The people at the terminals nod to him as he enters. Is this your ship? Soul nods.
That's right. The pilgrim's seed is mine to care for.
He leads you up a railed platform at the center of the room and stops.
She tells me, so to speak, I'm the cookie monster.
What the fuck is happening?
She tells me, so to speak. Well, at least her crew did, and I do my best to serve him.
So looks around the bridge for ship, a pained expression on his face.
I'll admit that the responsibility isn't one that suits me. Very rarely get to choose such things.
He glances back at you.
But you, Sleeper, from what I understand, you chose to try to help us here. Is that right?
I did my best to. Soul nods silently.
But I have to ask you, Sleeper. Why are you here now?
Soul leans back, and you feel his eyes on you, assessing you. The flux event.
I appreciate the honesty. I'd figured as much.
Soul flexes the shoulder that is free of the suit.
Looking at you now, I can see that an event like that, well, it would have had a big impact.
He smiles a half smile.
I have thousands of people here at Pilgrim Seed, Sleeper. There's thousands of more at the flotilla.
He leans against the railing.
A lot of them are looking to me to provide some future for them. Some path out of this dead end we've got into. This cycle, this very cycle, the thing we've been running away from, it just caught up with us. So these people are scared, Sleeper, and they're looking to me for reassurance. And then on the same cycle, someone tells me they see you on board. A sleeper, the same sleeper, they reckon, that wanted so strongly to send a ship past the cordon to see us.
Soul sketches his beard.
So the first thing I wanted to do was thank you for that, for your interest.
He pauses.
But the second thing I wanted to do was find out what you want from us. I think that's fair, don't you? So what is it?
What's happening around Ember? Someone at the terminal calls out to Sol, and he shouts some orders back as he turns to you.
Apologies.
He smiles at that half smile.
I tell you what, Sleeper. Let's you and me make a deal. You want information, I understand that. But I have a list of needs longer than the rib of the eye itself.
He grimaces.
So you do some things for me, and then we can talk about what's been happening in the system. And I will answer all your questions and then some. I may be the captain of the Pilgrim Seed, and she certainly is the biggest ship in this flotilla. But I'm not the only captain here. We have ships from each of the moons. We're from Ember's Hearth, but there's others from Ember's Song and Ember's Step. Moons have been each other's throats, Sleeper. Water the pressure of the flux and the bad blood from the old days. We aren't exactly all in alignment. What I need is a way to stop things escalating. For the crews of these ships and their captains to feel happy and comfortable enough to forget old rivalries and past crimes. Those from Ember's Step, well, they've always been proud. But that pride seems to be a barrier to compromise right now. The last set of supplies are sent their way, they refused. Meanwhile, I have a supply shuttle at the docking axis and Ember's Song ships gather at. But they have taken far too many cycles to unload. Maybe if you're heading that way, you can look in on them. I'm no politician, Sleeper, but if you don't... Sol stops. He leans back and flexes, his suit screeching. He groans a little, and you see the weight of the flotilla sitting on his shoulders. The suit is the only thing keeping him vertical beneath all the pressure. Look, you'll see for yourself if you go. Meet the others, Sleeper, and see what they need. Keep them aligned.
He speaks through the pain, his voice clipped. Are you okay?
Not really, but as long as this thing holds, I hope. You're what you appear to be, Sleeper.
He smiles, half-smile, despite the pain.
Because I'm not sure I can take any more bad news. Plus, there's plenty to be done here in Pilgrim Seed, too. If you have a moment to pinch in, there's never enough around here. That's something I've learned the hard way.
Hmm.
For 1,000 things to attend, Sleeper. So you'll have to find your own way out.
Hmm. Also, speaking of water, I need more. Yippee! Okay, what do we have here? I can give you mushrooms. Neat. Aki. Docking access. Supply and loading. Oh. More characters. I can, like... I guess my allergy has fucked my throat a bit more than I thought. It's annoying. Scrolling through here as an excuse. Don't have to read out anyone's voice. Did this activate yet? No. I wanna roll these. Oof! Okay, now I'm using them. Yay, 9 cryo. Oh, this is just free money. Long term. Yippee! Because like, these are already a profit, I think. I do need to do this eventually. Oh, what do I have open still? Expose Yannick, yeah. Feed the cat. Yippee. Alright. Beep boop. Strange sight given your time spent in the greenway to see a greenhouse choked in red dust. It piles up along the edges, gathers in curving waves, and is carried by some unseen wind to whirl in front of the glass ceiling. It is a desert in a miniature, a captured landscape of iron-rich sediment and unseen life. Beautiful, isn't it? The remark comes from another figure standing at the viewing window, so quietly that you hadn't noticed them. Did they just arrive, or were they there before you were? A cloth-swaddled form reveals little. It is. They say nothing. You catch a glimpse of a pale face among the thick material, dark eyes glittering in the red reflected light. Hello? They turn to you as the dust swirls. Aki. They smile a tired smile. You're not from the flotilla, am I right? I live in the eye. But that's not where you're from. She stares into the greenhouse. Everyone is from somewhere, whether they wish to be or not. The red dust glitters in her eyes. Whether it is a good place to be from or not. Aki gathers her cloak around her shoulders, against the cold. What brings you to the wind's long shadow? Saul sent me. Aki doesn't respond. She looks absent-mindedly at the dust. You're a strange one. Aki raises an eyebrow. I don't know whether to report you or send you back to where you came from. She smiles to herself, which is nowhere at all. You glance around the empty corridor, suddenly aware of how quiet it is on the ship. Like the other ships you have been on the flotilla, there's a silent order to the wind's long shadow. And in this moment it feels unsettling. Where's everyone? Aki waves a hand. Asleep, mostly. It is night on Step, so it is night here. She rubs her shoulders. At least for those of us who can sleep. Aki lets the silence sit, and you hear the wind and dust scratching at the viewing window. You hear a creak as a set of shutters slowly begin to close across the glass ceiling of a greenhouse. As you watch, you feel a dissonance this place has with that word. There's nothing green here. A dust house, perhaps. It takes many systems to preserve this landscape, Aki begins. To simulate the wind, cycle the dust, layer the sand and dirt beneath. You watch as the dust swirls. Systems that are failing. The flux event, Aki glances at you for a sign of recognition at this term, is eroding our ability to keep this place alive, to keep these traces of Step alive. She smiles to herself. Which is ironic, because when we left Step, the flux had eroded our ability to survive on the moon. Now the situation is reversed. Away from the moon, its ecosystems are as fragile as we were, living upon it. Something catches your eye as the shutters darken the dust house. The winds picking away the dunes begin to reveal something, a web, a network of thick branching forms. And then they close completely, and you see nothing in the dark. Soft blue lights flicker on the corridor, uplighting Aki in cold cyan. You have piqued my curiosity, but I'm so tired. Aki shivers. If you do not have a purpose here on the ship, I recommend finding one. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll need to leave. Make yourself useful, and perhaps we'll get another chance to talk. I would like that. With that, Aki pads away along the corridor. You stand for a moment in front of the dark dust house, trying to imagine a network of roots under the sand and dust. and then trying to imagine the moon that once housed them. So that's in a world clock. And then this is just like, do this. Yippee. Okay. Let's sleep. I need something to regenerate my health. I should do more mushroom farming. That's a good reroll. I'm putting this, even if it's risky. Yes. Because now I can do more mushroom farming. Yay! Yippee! So I need food and I need 1 item of scrap. Actually, I don't need food. I could do this. Because why the fuck not? And then honestly, I have so much money. I'm not gonna bother with the scrap. I'm just going to buy more stabilizer. I'm rich. Feed the cat, because why not? And then spend 1 die on here. Let's start here, because why not? Yay! Anything relevant? Not really. Cycle over. I'm passing through cycles quite quickly right now, and all of my goals have so many steps on them that it'll take a hot minute to get them done. I think this is the last cycle before anything happens on the event list. Pretty sure. Let's keep spending this here. Yeah. And then this one too, because why not? And then we can reroll all of these. Not the wastes. Use the low success rate ones on Alpha. Lovely. Immediately get what I want. Go up. Yeah, tomorrow. The next cycle. Yannick's ward. This is dangerous, but I'll just do it. Ah. Ow. Ow. Oh, come on. I just repaired that. Fine. I'll use the other stabilizer. Ooh, that's good shit. Sleeper, long time. Moritz is smiling at you when you leave. Clearly happy to see you again. Moritz, good to see you. Same. He rubs his hands on the jacket. How you been? Really well. Good to hear it. I knew you'd make it work. You're a smart one. Hey, look, I'm not down here to chat though. I know Bliss said that she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she changed her mind or something. He grins. Because now we have someone looking for a refit of their ship in our bay. You would not believe it. They want the entire ship disarmed. Cutting out defense arrays, weapon lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with the hardware. We'll have there when we're done. Anyway, it's a massive job, and we need some hands. Bliss said to get you. So come on up. Bliss is waiting for you to accept the job. It'll be good to have you up there again, like old times. Yay! Friend! Doo-doo-doo. When you enter the bay, it's weirdly quiet. Moritz must be out on some errand, and maybe Bliss is prepping the kid. Ankita! Sleeper. Ankita's drifting at one side of the bay. You missed her completely when you came in. The idea of not seeing Ankita when you entered a room would have been seemed unlikely to you several cycles ago. But seeing her without her armor, she's smaller, less imposing. Finally got rid of the armor? She ignores your remark. So what is this? She asks. Come to avenge Ashton and or Sleeper? Or just looking for another payout? Her anger's familiar, but quieter than before, restrained. I don't want to fight. Then why are you here? She looks away, and you can tell her anger isn't directed at you in particular. It radiates off her like fire. You better be ready to sign, comes a shout from the bay entrance. Because I've got my best repair tech coming up here especially, and they are going to... Bliss glides in and suddenly stops herself when she sees you and Akita standing off. Oh, Sleeper, you're already here. Miss Cassetta, this is the tech I was telling you about. The best in the... She stops looking between the two of you. Wait, do you know each other? You and Akita look at each other. We work together. Bliss squints at you both before continuing. Bliss produces a slate. Now, Miss Cassetta, if you would like to sign a damage waiver here, we can start on the decommissioning. She looks at you. My tech here is eager to get started, as am I. Akita scrawls a signature across the slate. Thank you! Bliss pauses. And everything is okay with the special payment terms we discussed? She gives Ankita a strange smile. All fine, says Ankita, giving you another hard look. Then she kicks off and drifts to the entrance. I'll be in the gimbal, she says and leaves. Special payment terms. She looks over her glasses at you. Look, Sleeper, there's something I have to tell you. She glances around again. What is he so nervous about? This isn't exactly a typical job. Miss Ankita, she gives you a knowing look, doesn't have the chits to pay us, so we made a special agreement. I'm leaving. Leaving? Keep it down. I haven't heard Moritz yet. Just waiting to break it to him. Don't you tell him either. She stares hard at you. I'll tell him when I'm ready. And I don't want him getting worried about Ankita's history. He can be very protective. I've noticed. Look, all I care is that she's heading for the starboard belt. That's why I'm headed. Also, I wanted to ask if you'd like to come with us. I can't. I would, but I can't. She interrupts before you answer. I know things have been hard for you in the Eye, and you helped me so much. I asked Ankita if she'd carry 2 of us, and she said yes. Moritz will take over the bay anyway, although if you stay, you're welcome to help him run it. I just thought you might be in need of a fresh start as much as I am. Think about it anyway. The berth is there. You've got to finish the job first anyway. And with that, she kicks away and heads to the wrecks, before you can offer an answer. Moments later, Moritz enters with a new cutting torch for the disarming of the ambergris. The starboard belt. You push your thoughts to the back of your mind. Time to get to work. Damn, I did not expect this to be the quest that pops up here. I don't know if that's a good idea, though. Like, what I have in my mind is, like, if I leave, that means I will need to find a supply for stabilizer again, or I die. And so far, nothing has offered me a stable intake of stabilizer. Ah. No. Let's do this. Soul finds it deep in the lay of the pilgrim seed, like on a patch for life support. Went. You hear him coming, his suit hissing as he does. I just ground to find you. He smiles. Seems you know the place better than me these days. I've put in the time. And we thank you for it. Stand up and let me see you. He pulls you to your feet. I don't believe we've ever had a sleep on Ember's Hearth. You sure do make me wish we had. Could have done with few work as good as you. Thank you. You're welcome. Seems like I owe you some answers, seeing as you have been working hard to the Pilgrim's Sea these past cycles. What do you want to know about? The flux. That's what I imagined. I can't say I'm an expert, but I can tell you what we witnessed on Earth. At first, we ignored it. A few farms had their automation systems blink out, litter suits locked up, bots reset their schedules. Nothing we hadn't seen before. But then the news came out of Passera that they had been hit harder. A local network had gone down and no one could get it back up. It was rough for a while, but out in the farmland we're used to that. Capital of Earth. Tens of thousands of souls made it their home. Anyway, we thought the flux was a freak event until the day they got the network running again. That's when the cascade happened. System after system corrupted, data lost. Then another flux hit and another. The bots were running circles in the fields. People had to be cut out of lifter suits like mine. And the city. I never saw it, but I heard from others. So shivers. It only got worse from there, but we couldn't seem to fight it. It cut us right open. That's what I know about the flux. Some folks say it came from the inner system. That it might be connected to some old tech there or something. But I never heard anything more than rumors. Sorry, I don't have better news. Anything else you wanted to ask? Yeah, I'm Basath. Sure, I mean, I spent my whole life in that rock, so I have plenty to tell. I'll save my life story for another time, but short of it is that Hearth is the first of Ember's moons. The biggest and the most populated, which is down to the successful terraforming system Sibel set up back when Solheim owned the system. How are the relations with the other moons? Depends on who you're talking to. You shouldn't mistake me for a politician, Sleeper. That's for others to do. But Ember's Step, where there was a test ground for the terraforming tech that Hearth is built on, while Ember's Song was the extraction site for the raw materials and energy needed to make it work. So you can imagine that might lead to some tension. However, despite what people might say, Hearth was never fully stable. Sibel liked to talk it up, but after they pulled out and Solheim left, Tulla left, our people discover they'd have to keep the systems running themselves, or the place would soon end up as dry as steppe. Earth was good as long as the evaporators kept running, kept filling our skies with clouds. Even after the collapse, our people kept those things going until the subsurface ocean into periwinkle blue sky. Flux ended that though, and when they failed, the rains failed, and the harvests with it. And soon you have a city without a way to feed itself. That's when some of us, made the decision to set out of the place and look for a future. Anything else you wanted to ask? You want to know about me? I'm not sure that's part of the deal I was thinking of, Sleeper. Unless you're asking about this. He wraps out the metal of his suit. In case you haven't guessed, this is the only thing keeping me vertical. It's a lifter suit, made for working in the fields. We had to modify it so I could walk around after the accident. And that's all I'm saying, Sleeper. Because, to be honest with you, I don't know you more than that. You want to know about the flux, about the Ember's Hearth? Go ahead. But don't pry into my life, I won't pry into yours. So lets the silent sit, staring hard at the floor. The suit seems to loom over him, looking more like a burden than support. With the bars around his head, you suddenly start to think of it as a cage. Look, I don't mean to be rude. Let's leave it there. There's too many eyes on me in this ship as it is, and I'd rather just slip into the background. Thank you very much. You sure? Yeah. Keep it up, Sleeper. You're making me think I need to start making new plans with this place. With that, Saul leaves, and you wonder what he means. As he creaks away down the corridor, you can't help but feel there's more to him than it seems. Yay! And now we can invest here. Ow. All right. Time to scroll all the way back to the other side of the station. Yay. So I can buy food. No, 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 no. Wee. Great. Thanks. Amazing. Well, whatever. The great thing about hunger damage is that it doesn't roll over to anything else. Oh, this both completes the next cycle. That's crazy. Yup. And then this was safe, I think. No, it's also risky. Okay. I want to do something useful with the 4. I think I'm going to use it here. Nice. Alright. And then we unload. Alright. I see you've been contributing. Aki stands next to you at the dust house window. I was unsure what to expect when we joined the flotilla on this voyage to the Eye, but after the journey across the system, then the quarantine and then the flux reaching all the way out here too. Thank you. The other ships have only been interested in sending us supplies, but we grow all we need. What the dust house needs, that is the problem that concerns us. She smiles and turns to you. Shall we go inside? I'd love to. Come. Seems only fair that after your help with the support systems, you get to see what it is that you are maintaining. Aki leads you to an opening beside the window. You pass through a dark changing room, and you notice Aki is sliding into an oxygen mask and visor. She looks at the swirling dust inside. Inside is just like Ember Step. Thin atmosphere, constant dust storms. Nothing that will bother you. She passes your mask. The dust isn't exactly pleasant to inhale, however, so take this. You hold it to your face. She leads you through a short decontamination tunnel with its fizzing panels and purifying light, and then into the dust house. Immediately, the wind and heat hits you. You feel the rough waves of dust scattering across your face, and peer through the ember murk. Your feet slide into shifting piles of sand. Welcome to Step, or an emulation of it at least. Aki's voice sounds distant, echoey. The terraforming process only managed to provide a limited atmosphere around the moon, one which is slowly escaping. It's been like that since I was born, so I got used to the idea. You catch her bright eyes through the ember dust. So did everything else that lives there. You feel something hard beneath your feet, beneath the sand, like a coil of rope. What is under the sand? This is Step Silk. It is one of the plants we established on Step. She kicks away some red sand. Like any bast fiber, it can be retted and woven into clothes. I'm wearing some made from it myself. It is one of many species adapted to Step since the Solheim collapse, which is why it must be preserved. She stares out into the swirling dust. It is as much a refugee as we are, and the dust houses hold hundreds of other species. You look at the pale, unassuming root, threaded thickly through the sand. Aki watches you silently. Had enough? It will be easy to speak. Outside. Aki leads you back out through the decontamination tunnel, which blasts the dust from both of you with a burst of metallic-tasting air, and into the changing room. Aki hangs up both the masks, patiently awaiting your questions. What happened on Ember Step? Aki pauses, pulling her shawl around her. She looks small and pale inside its layers. Step was already a doomed world, she sniffs. When Solheim gave the terraforming contract to Cybele, they believed they could build an atmosphere, but the moon's erratic orbit made it impossible to maintain. By the time of the Solheim collapse, the atmosphere was already fading. Cybele's attention was on Earth. After the collapse, Cybele fell too, its researchers scattered across the moons, and any central organization lost. Since then, my parents' generation worked tirelessly to survive, to adapt what we had to the failing moon. The steppe silk, the other adapted species, are the life's work of the steppes colony. So when the flux started to collapse our computer systems, corrode and destroy our life support, our water supply, or agriculture, we had to leave. Soon the only traces of steppe will be on this ship. Aki begins to cry quietly. You are unsure what to do. You sit on the bench beside her as she sobs. You understand why the refugees from the steppe are so different. The world was already dying when the flux arrived. Ember Steppe is a terraformed moon, a partial atmosphere, established colonies, agriculture. And yet when the flux event started, its people had to leave. You think of the eye and the delicate web of decaying systems it rests upon. What hope does a ruined station have against a wave that corrupts, corrodes, and collapses? Aki interrupts your thoughts, rubbing her eyes. Not everyone left. There wasn't room to take all the people and fill the dust houses. My parents, their friends, and many others stayed. We carry the steppe for them. Aki stands. I wanted you to understand the importance of these dust houses, of what they contain. She leads you back into the corridor. If the flux events continue to reach out to the eye, we need to build protections to ensure their safety. I can help. And you will be welcome to the wind's long shadow whenever you wish. These dust houses are already decaying. I have seen it. We had thought that they would last longer, but the last flux event... Help us, please. When you're ready, we will begin the preparations for reinforcing the dust houses. We need to be ready for the next flux event. Aki's eyes shine with the last of her tears. I will see you soon. Aki drifts away down the corridor, leaving you alone once more at the viewing window, watching the ragged, delicate traces of the moon knowing as Ember Steppe. Preservation. So this doesn't count yet as helping them. Alrighty. Alright. That's up now. These are really good. It's a really good dice, and I'm wasting them on harvest a mushroom. Well, what can you do? So much stabilizer. Bling! There's a loose crowd around the supplies you've unloaded, and a tense mood brewing among them. You sit nearby on the edge of the shuttle's docking tunnel, resting. Further away crews of members Song continue their lives as usual, coming and going, trading, discussing. There's a quiet efficiency to the hub, set up as a common space for the swarm of small ships from the Ember's Song that are part of the flotilla. Unlike Hearth or Step, there's no one capital ship for this moon's refugees. Just a mass of individuals traveling in concert. We told Hearth we didn't want their scraps. A jeering voice comes out of the small crowd nearby. You turn to see a gaunt, pale man wearing the industrial worker gear you've seen many of the Song refugees wearing. You hear me? We agreed to join the flotilla for joint protection. We did not agree to Amber Hearths using the flotilla to secure the control of the moons. You realize Petter is addressing the crowd as much as he's addressing you. With the cordon down, our crews are more than able to acquire what is needed from the Eye, which is owed as restitution for keeping us restrained. He pats one of the crates you unloaded. What we need, we will take. I have not taken this. Then why are you delivering supplies for Earth? You need to check your alliances, Sleeper. Peter looks around the crowd. Hearth thinks they can buy us, but we remember the past. A rumble of agreement runs through the crowd. He smiles at them. Take the supplies if you wish, of course. We are not wasteful. Peter approaches you directly. The crowd tentatively moves forward, and by the time he reaches you, they are already dragging away crates and distributing the contents. I'm not one for shooting the messenger, Sleeper, says Petter as he approaches. But we cannot concede to Hearth here, not for a moment. I don't understand. I can see that. Petter sits beside you on the docking tunnel slip. What was your plan, Sleeper? Unload the supplies and wait for someone to start throwing them back at you? He nods at the crowd rifling through the crates. Because that's what was about to happen. Not sure about that. What do you think happened to the crew of this shuttle? He shakes his head. They were chased out of this place. What is happening here? We are maintaining our independence. Do you know anything about Ember's Moon, Sleeper? Or were you planning on to wander into this flotilla totally blind? An objective outsider offering help? Educate me then. It would be my pleasure. I'm going to assume you know the basics. The gas giant Ember has 7 moons. The 3 biggest are Ember's Step, Ember's Song, and Ember's Heart. He winks. We can cover the 3 sisters next session. Step was the first to be settled. A contract old Solheim gave to the Transformers Sibel Systems when they first claimed the Hellion system. That's way back when. Step was a testing ground, and like most testing grounds, it didn't turn out well. A partial atmosphere slowly sloughing off each orbit, a dysfunctional ecosystem, and a whole load of dust-clogged settlers. The place is a miserable desert long past its best before date. So Sabel moved to Hearth, where they redoubled their effort. The subsurface ocean and some balmy tidal heating helped. allowing them to build a real atmosphere, a real habitable world, a fact that the typical Earth colonist won't even let you forget. How did Zabel achieve such a thing, you might wonder? Well, that's where we come in. It's that same old rule of surrogacy, the one humanity built a universe around. Peter claps a hand to his chest in mock pride. My moon, Ember Song, is a sulfur-soaked rock covered in volcanoes, tidally heated by its inner orbit to sweltering temperatures. Exactly the kind of crucible you need to fuel a terraforming project. Energy, industry, fuel, Song provided with the raw materials for Earth. Willingly or not. And a crucible requires people to run it. Us singers, born into a flaming pit and asked to stoke it so others might live in a paradise in the making. That's what we had to endure until Solheim brought everything down. Peter rattles off his speech from memory, and you wonder how many times he's delivered it. No, Solheim, no contract. No Sabel and no Sabel. No contract, no Sabel. No Sabel means 3 moons suddenly independent. It was war, Sleeper. Sometimes not, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. And unsurprisingly, Earth and Steppe came out of it better than us. Yet. Peter holds up a hand. They need us, Sleeper. They always have. And so we are the linchpin. We are the center around which the moons orbit. Not swirling ember. We've resisted takeovers, sieges, and expansions, and now we resist this. Half the people on these ships think the flux was caused by Earth, intentionally or otherwise, and I have to say, some cycles I agree. So before you come here to hand out supplies like a good soldier, maybe educate yourself. But what does that matter now? Peter shakes his head. Do you forgive crimes against yourself so easily, Sleeper? Would you return to the bosom of Essen Arb if they sent someone to collect? Don't presume to judge us. I want you to imagine what it's like to try to live on an airless volcanic rock when every system that sustains you starts shutting down. He spits and wipes his sleeve across his mouth. We abandoned nothing. Some stayed, others left, but we will reclaim Ember as soon as the flux fades or ends. We've weathered worse. Don't you need the supplies? As I said, we will take what we need when we need it. Peter stands out into the exit. There's no authority that we recognize here. I won't keep you from the docking access, Sleeper. No one here has the authority for that. But watch yourself here. Try to remember that the Eye is just another in the long list of people who have tried to control us. Peter sighs. Look, we are many and we have many needs. Ships come to this docking access for repairs, for requisitions, for friendship. You can provide these as well as any singer. Maybe it's even Sindra, who knows? If you want to help in your own name, Sleeper. Not in that of Earth. Carry that name here and you will lose all trust. Be as we are, act in your own name alone. Peter puts a hand on your shoulder and stands. I hope I didn't just waste my time here, Sleeper. And with that, he walks away, back to the shrinking crowd that is distributing the last of supplies amongst the crews present. You watch them pass the food and water between them, no signs of conflict between the crews, just a careful distribution of resources. Peter chats with a few crews, each of them casting looks in a direction, ones that reveal little about the Cinder's intentions. You stand. It seems tensions at the flotilla run much deeper than you expected. This won't be easy. Spores? A whole-ass ship mind? Damn. Okay. Crazy. Yay. I mean, I can get you a ship mind, in theory. If I can get another piece of a ship mind. Yippee, food! Alright. Oop! Rika has something in her hands when you enter the lab. It looks like a knotted twist of woody stems and a ring about the circumference of a human head, consisting of a single stalk at one side and a branched woven network at the other. As you approach, she holds it up, and in the lights of the lab it looks like a crown. Rika finishes your thought. She smiles and shakes her head in disbelief. Is that what grew? It is. I came to the plant this morning, and this loop was all that was there. She points to a lump of edge in of the ring. A seed grew right back into itself, twisted up out of the soil. That being you encountered in the cloud, as you call it, was it wearing one of these? She eyes you suspiciously, still unsure if that's somehow embroiled in an overlong prank. It doesn't work like that. Perhaps wearing was the wrong word. She places the object on the bench and shuffles it to her analysis terminal, her face lit by its amber light at the dim corner of the lab. Well, it isn't exactly a plant anyway, not from what I can tell. No leaves, no chloroplasts, just a series of filaments encased in cellulose walls. How did it grow? It seems the seed contained everything it needed, a self-contained entity, nothing less. But that isn't the good part. Look at this. You see a cross-section scan of the crown, its layers of plant-like structure in full view. Until you reach the center. There, instead of xylem and phloem, for transporting nutrients, something branched and woven glints. Metal. In part, yes, they seem to contain metal, perhaps absorbed from the station itself. But you see those branches? They remind me of dendrites of neurons, which is frankly ridiculous. I look back at the crown of the table and Ricky fusses over the scans, and you suddenly realize what it reminds you of. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, cold metal floor, and then remember the crown they fitted you with, the branching structure of wires and pads. No, not a crown. They called it an interface. The tool of your emulation, your transference from neurons to electrons. An interface, that is your gift from the gardener. You turn back to Rika. It's an interface. Rika looks at you, puzzled. Something clicks in her mind, perhaps something she heard from the sleeper she had helped all those cycles ago. She starts talking, partly to you, partly to herself. If the club heads were made for you, then this too could be made for you, for your frame. She shuffles over quickly to the interface, a word that is stuck to the strange branched object quickly in your mind. You're right. That entity, it is the entity I have been looking for. She shuffles quickly to the crown. They are the entity which has been controlling the Greenway, which has been maintaining it, supporting it, that has been guiding it for all these decades. They want to talk with you. I will be here, Sleeper. If something happens, if you wish me to remove the crown, the interface, just squeeze. She grips your hand tightly. You meet her eyes, clouded with age but bright with the thrill of new discoveries. Then she places the interface on your head and everything blinks out. Back into the river, back into the dark flow. But something is different now. You're no longer pushed, no longer blocked and buffeted by the storm. Instead, it flows around you. You move and it parts, letting you pass. Something else resists, but it gives easily enough. You look back and see your body. You haven't left it behind. Somewhere, Rico's voice is talking to you, asking you questions. It is excited, eager, desperate to know what lies on the other side, what the entity has to say to you. Realize how long she's waited for this moment. For the moment of meeting between the inhabitants of the Greenway and its protector. Yet she's still on the outside. You shake off the sadness. You will be her eyes, Then you see the figure. Gardener, out in the storm, planting. It takes less than a moment to reach them. You have never felt so free. This is how a navigator must have felt, released from their prison. This, you think, is what it feels like to be in this place as you were built to inhabit. Gardener does not turn at your approach. They go on planting, but their voice whispers in the waters like sharply rising current. You grew the gift, their speech hisses around you. Good. I am glad. I wanted to meet you. Then we are the same. Both eager shoots seeking one another. How does it feel to be free of your seed? Good. That is good. They press a seed to the loamy depths. There was some disagreement, continues Gardner, as if you were picking up on a long-held conversation. With the others, they felt you were a danger, but they always cautious. Especially the fungi, they like old loam. No one knows wide and stable networks. The fungi were cautious. Mostly, yes. Although there are many among their number who favor short growth cycles, thick nutrient veins, and sudden shifts. He gestures out in the storm and though you cannot see them, you feel presences all around, sensing this audience with great interest. After all, they understood that it was I who made them their crowns, and without them they would not have joined the chorus. So they see that it is only fair that you get your chance too. Join. Yes. Become part of this. Gardner stoops again. We are millions and we grow. I hope you understand. I am unused to speaking to your kind. It has been many cycles since my last conversation. I think it was with Chief Executive Trellick himself. You look around and see it. Every growing thing, every non-human being in the Greenway is here. They are networked, connected, branched and linked by this strange being, this artifact of the old station. The impossible dream of a senile farm administration AI. A living network. You could dissolve here, you realize, free of that decaying body. You wouldn't need to be a person, why would you, among all these other minds? Turn away from Gardner for a moment, and look back to your body. A tiny hairline thread connects it to you. You hear Rico's voice again, still asking, still checking in. Are you okay, Sleeper? What are they saying, Sleeper? Are you still there, Sleeper? Something in you sighs a long sigh. A sigh that speaks of an exhaustion beyond tiredness. An exhaustion rooted deep inside. It stems from the effort of answering questions, of answering problems, of getting up and breathing each cycle. But something else resists the sigh. A yearning, a sense of distance. A desire to squeeze that hand that holds you for its warmth, its blood, its complexity. To make a gesture that says, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm with you. Two ideas spin within you, making you nauseous. If you break that thread, you will be free. Free to dissolve here, to grow strange and beautiful among a million others. If you follow it, if you squeeze Rico's hand, you will wake up back in the dying body, with all the pain and warmth that entails. Now is the moment to choose. Oh, shit. Okay. I guess it's time for an ending. You reach down and pinch the thread. The finality of this moment descends on you. You pluck the thread like a string. It snaps. Nothing changes. You stand at a point of stillness. No, you don't stand. You have no legs, no body. You are a point of stillness, a point in the flow. Your mind fizzes, 1,000 new shoots break through the soil. They entwine with you, embrace you. Some part of you decays while something else feeds from that decay. The spores of your new thought float away in shifting clouds and settle in new soil. And you see Garden out there, still planting. and they stop like an old man resting in the fields. They turn to face you, and you join the chorus, and together you sing the songs, a song of growing things. Bling! Ending achieved. Such a beautiful song. I understood nothing. I have uploaded myself into something. Yippee! Well, that was the ending of the game. It was a very good game. But that was not the ending of the game. It was a ending of the game. You have a couple of options to leave. Yeah. And I think this is also the ending of the stream. Because I said so. I could boot up the second game. But I've been exhausted for the past 2 weeks. So I think I'm just going to take this excuse to give in to that exhaustion. But yeah, I do have the second one already. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining. I hope you had a good time. I'll see when we play the second one. Because I need to be in a very specific mood for this game, but it will be soon. I wish everyone a good night. And bye-bye. It's a very good game. You should pick it up if you can. Good night.